Hey everybody, it's nice. It's a nice chill night in LA, or as people in LA like to say, it's freezing out. I hate hearing that. I work outside and people are like, it's freezing, and I just want to be like, no, you're not. You're not freezing. You know how you're not freezing? Because you're fucking alive right now. You can't just say you're freezing. Chilly. Jack Nicholson at the end of Shining, that's fucking freezing. It's a fucking real thing. It's a scientific term. It's an emergency if you're freezing. Calm down. There's a breeze and you're at Tender Greens. Fucking chill out. It's so bad. People are such... I hate to say it. People are such pussies out here. Because there'll be one breath, they'll be like, it's freezing, and then we'll turn on the heater and they'll be like, it's so hot. It's so hot right now. It's just like, all right, well, I'll just murder you, and then you'll be fine. The cool embrace of death. We'll be asleep. I'm new here to LA. I moved at the end of September from Chicago. I'm here to fail for real. I'm doing it. I did stand up in Chicago for like 8.5 years, but I couldn't fail out there because I'm from Chicago, and you can't fail if your parents can just come pick you up and bring you home. It's not failure. That's just like when I peed my pants at my friend Derek's 2nd grade birthday party. It's just a bad few years. At least out here I can lose everything, you know? It's real. I get terrified out here because to be successful in LA you have to be social, and I'm not social. I have crippling social anxiety. Like, if anybody tries to talk to me after this, I'm sorry. It's not gonna go well. Unless you have a joint of some reefer, it's not gonna go well at all. I'm so nervous. It makes me miss being fat, being in LA. Because when I was fat, like, I was anxious, but it was great. Like, when I was fat, people would refer to me as a teddy bear, and they cheered when I ate. It was fucking amazing. It was a great life. And now I lost all of that. I lost 100 pounds. And then people are just like, oh, you know Keith? He's depressed. He's just normal. I hate, like, anytime I go into a place, like a bar or a comedy club, I just get so... I feel like whenever I enter a building, I feel like everybody gathered like a surprise party, but instead of yelling surprise when I walk in, they're just like, we've all developed friendships! And I just gotta go and deal with it. It's not fun. I'm also white trash. I am. I talked to my dad earlier this week, and he just got a disability check, his first disability check for $29,000. And it's a big deal. It's a big moment in the life of a white trash family. Because a lot of people on our block purposely didn't work hard for years to try and get disability. My dad put in the fucking work. He did drugs and construction every day of his life. Fucking heart exploded. Couldn't handle it. But he got on top. It was amazing going through the process, though, because we had to go through all sorts of paperwork and meetings, and my dad, he smoked enough crack, he doesn't remember things anymore. He had a stroke in his... He's got CTE like a football player, but he took a way cooler hit to the head. And we had to have like meetings, and there were all these people were like, sir, this is what you need to prove this and this, and he got very confused. And one day the lady got real upset, and she just goes, sir, I'm gonna level with you. We need proof on paper that you are a loser. And he just looked at her with he wasn't upset at all. He just goes, ma'am, I've been preparing for this moment my whole life. That's all you had to say. He pulled out a file, was ready. So he got it. He got 29 grand, and I feel like I'm entitled to 1,000 of it because I took care of him for his whole life. It was interesting growing up. I smoked crack with my father 1.5 times. The half was the first, and I only call it a half because he wasn't there, but it was totally his fault. He used to leave weed out all the time, and I used to just smoke it, you know, because I was a cool boy. So every day after school, I would take a little hit of his bowl. And years later, one day he came bursting into my room and was just like, Keith, there was crack underneath that weed today. And he looked upset, but he wasn't mad that I smoked crack. He was mad that I smoked his crack. That's the problem. Which, that's my bad. That's on me. I'm sorry. The second time, he just handed me a hollowed out radio antenna and was like, here. I was just like, fuck, man. 3 hours ago, I was just a sophomore in high school. And then now this is happening right now. They were right. The world changed after 9/11. So I took a hit of crack with my father, and my brain vibrated. in the most literal sense. Like, it just shook in my head, and all the sound in the world went wow, 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 wow. And it stopped on the bridge of my nose and shot out of my left ear real hard. And that made me nauseous, so I ran outside and I started throwing up purple foam. I don't know if it was purple, I was pretty high on crack. But it was foam, and it was hard to get up, and I remember struggling, and my dad came outside, to which I'm thinking he's gonna be like, oh, are you okay? But instead he just went, yep, that's when you know it's good shit. So my dad introduced me to hard drugs and then for sure called me a bitch. It's real supportive. I've seen, and like, both my parents do drugs, you know, like, it's weird, you get to see your real parental unit when you see them do hard drugs. Like, I always knew my mom got pregnant young, but it wasn't until I saw her enthusiastically snort cocaine off the hood of a Ford Taurus where I was just like, oh, we stole your youth. Like, you were supposed to have a life and do that, I'm sorry. Bump up another rail, you've earned it. You raised me right. I don't care anymore. It's interesting though, because I've got, like, I don't feel like I'm a good influence because of that now. Like, I do want kids eventually, but like, I'm gonna have to be a parent. Like, when I moved out here, I stayed with family and I had to watch their kids a couple times. And a lot of parents out here, they monitor screen time. Which for me, screen time was just what my parents put me in front of so they could do drugs. So like, I'm all about screen time. But I try and like abide by it, so it would be towards the end of the night, and like, I would notice like, oh, there's screen times. It's getting late with screen time, but then part of me would be like, well, we haven't smoked crack tonight, so you can probably watch a little YouTube. Like, it's not gonna hurt you at all. In fact, you can probably YouTube the safest ways to smoke crack, and you'll be all good. It was a fun life, though. My dad's friends fucked me up more than anything, though. Like, my dad was pretty dope. His friends were wild. Like, there were moments where, like, I would try and bring friends home after school, and I used to have to, like, check things out to make sure it was okay. But every now and again, one of my friends would slip by and, like, go in the basement. And then they would come upstairs, like, freaked out, like, dude, you know there's 4 fairly large white men smoking crack and watching porn on Fast Forward, right? And you're just like, yeah, that's my dad and Uncle Joe. He's here because his sister's a bitch. At least that's what he says. My dad, it was interesting watching him interact with his crackhead friends because a lot of the people he did drugs with were younger than him, like kind of like my age, which really scared me. Like, there were moments where like people would be like, how's it going, Keith? And I'm just like, I don't know, school sucks. And they're just like, yeah, I didn't like school either. And I'm just like, I fucking love school. Like, you want to do good in school, just have a crackhead be like, yeah, me too, I didn't like school either. And you're like, oh shit. I'm gonna go study for this test. But it was like they used to try, they wanted him to do Adderall all the time. Adderall is like the new drug. You guys know what Adderall is here? Does anybody, many of you probably deal Adderall? It's the new like cocaine. People you study, it's like speed. But like, my dad is also a baby boomer, so he's not into like new things. So one time someone poured a pile of Adderall on the table and he just goes, I ain't gonna do any of that future shit. Like, that's how my dad's judging our generation based on the drugs we get. I'm just like, you millennials with your prescription drugs. Back when I was your age, we had to go outside and find our own madness. And then he cooked crack in the microwave in front of me, and I'm just like, fuck, they really are the greatest generation. I've never had to work that hard for anything in my life. I got weed delivered to my house last week. I didn't have to do anything. I'm also half Mexican. I feel like I need to talk about that out here because Hollywood. I got caught stealing at a CVS a couple weeks ago. And the reason I even started thinking about this is because when I got caught stealing, the clerk, he goes, I see you, white boy. Which is fair. That's fair. I know how I look. But part of me wants to defend myself and be like, actually, sir, I'm half Mexican. But no one ever believes me. But I am. I'm Mexican enough that I went to college for free. But I'm white, so I was able to drop out with 0 consequences. Nothing happened. My parents were very supportive about it. Paid for an improv class. I quit that. So now I do this and make no money, and they're still pretty proud of me, which I think is the problem. They need to be disappointed more. So, I'm just letting you guys sit in it for a little bit. I'm just fucking trying shit out, you know? So yeah. I'm half Mexican. I don't talk about it ever though, that was the problem. Like I don't bring it up ever. Cause like when you bring up your ethnicity, people's brains go to the most ethnic version of it. And so anytime I'm just like, yeah, I'm Mexican, and people are like, oh, what part of Mexico is your family from? It's just like, fucking, I don't know, Texas? They're from the suburbs of Texas. So I don't talk about it ever. I don't know Spanish either. I know zero Spanish, which really hurts my credibility as a Mexican person. My mom just never talked to us in Spanish. She kind of wanted to keep me away from that side of the family because all my uncles are Latin kings. Like full on. My cousin has teardrop tattoos all over his face. He's sobbing murder, my cousin. I remember one time we went to my 10-year-old David's birthday party, and when your Mexican cousin turns 10, that just means your family's gonna get fucked up around you. That was the night I saw my mom snort coke off the hood of a Ford Taurus to bring it all around. It was a night of celebration. And at some point in the night, my cousin shot one of his own gang members, which you are not allowed to do. It's a big no-no. So one of the snitch neighbors called the cops after that happened. And we all had to go into the basement like a fucking tornado was hitting the neighborhood. And at one point, my stepdad ran to the top of the stairs and he got hit with a beer bottle in the chest and he fell backwards, and my mom thought he got shot, so she ran over to him screaming. It was really intense. And then we were leaving, we like left the party, and I remember my mom just looked at me like, this is why you don't know Spanish. I'm saving you, be white, but use the Mexican thing later. You'll go to college for free. Good. What do I want to close on? I think that might have been it. Are you guys satisfied? No, I don't know how aggressive I am. All right, that was it for me. Thank you guys so much. Keep it going for Keith, y'all.